And we're live.
Well, hello there. It is a Feel Good Friday. I'm Paul Sullivan. Feel Good Friday, by the way, brought to you by Billy W. Merritt, who occasionally, about 3 times a year, will make an appearance on the show. So it's basically me and my man behind the scenes, Smith. Smith, how you doing today? Hey, put that on mute. Put that on mute, Mr. Producer. You're supposed to know that. I tell you what, we're barely in the show, and he's already irritating me. No, I'm kidding. So, hey, you had a birthday, Smith. You had a birthday. So we talked about what you thought was going to be, like not really any kind of a different day, really. So were you surprised? Did your mom surprise you with anything? With anything? Did anybody, send you any surprise messages that you weren't expecting? Things like that.
We celebrated a little bit the day before, since we knew that they would, have time taken up on Sunday.
Mhm.
We went out to L1800s, had a nice big meal there. Got fuller than I've probably gotten in a couple of years, to be honest. I was stuffed. Wore the sombrero. They sung "Happy Birthday." That was fun. Sombreros are way heavier than I expected.
That was a fun. You need to get that photo while he's pulling that up. You got to show that one. I mean, come on.
Okay.
By the way, L1800, for those of you that are not from Douglas, Georgia, it's a Mexican restaurant. It's pretty good Mexican restaurant here in Douglas, Georgia. So Smith went there for his birthday, and that's what they do. They have this gigantic sombrero when it's your birthday. There it is. All right, I can see it on his screen, so we got to put it on the big screen. There we go. Let me get out of the way.
Press the wrong button. Yep, there it is.
Now that is a giant sombrero. I think it's huge. I mean,
I'm not sure what it's made of, but it had to have weighed like a couple of pounds. Like if you leaned in one direction, you could kind of feel yourself falling over.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your birthday. I hope you had a great time.
Yes.
By the way, what was your? Did you get a birthday cake, or did they give you something different?
I did. We ended up going by Holt's Bakery. They had something ordered in advance. It was good. I mean,
and what was it?
It was just basically a regular birthday cake, but it was really good.
Just regular birthday, like what flavor, that kind of stuff. Just regular birthday cake. I'd like birthday cake flavor, please.
Cake and icing. I don't know.
Like, was it chocolate cake? Was it chocolate cake? Was it vanilla cake? See what I mean?
It was quote unquote vanilla, I guess. Just
white. You had white cake.
I can't.
Is that what it was? White cake with white frosting.
It was as basic. White cake with frosting, with the flowery frosting stuff.
Okay.
It had some sprinkles on it.
I got you.
It wasn't bad. It was really good.
Yeah, I'd like to place an order. Yeah, I'd like birthday cake flavor cake, please.
You got it.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed your birthday. I know our other ninja, Jose Santiago, he actually celebrated his birthday. See, he's right there. He just chimed in. I say his name. He's like Candyman. I say his name and he just pops up. He's right there. Jose listens everywhere. He knows all. So happy birthday to Jose too. He had a birthday. And then, like an idiot, I forgot that it was his birthday, and I scheduled his behind to work almost the entire day. He worked a lot of hours that day, so he took one for the team for sure. So we appreciate the job that he did, and we hope that and I hope his girlfriend will forgive me because I was the one. Yeah, I'll fall on the sword. Jose just said forgot. He put forgot like oh sure you forgot. I did forget actually. But anyway, so but I hope your girlfriend forgives me for scheduling you on your birthday. So he's by the way, he's down in Conroe, Texas. Jose is working at Cowboy Kia out there helping one of our dealers. So he's working hard still. He's had a long week. He worked all week long. He had like one day off, which was really a travel day. He drove all the way to Texas. Whew, man, that's a haul. So big ups and big respect to Jose Santiago. And again, hope you had a nice birthday. So if you move up in the comments a little bit, Billy Merritt jumped in right away. I mean, as soon as we were on for like just a few seconds, and he pops up and goes, "Go Dogs." So yeah, you'll notice something. Now, this is highly unusual. Okay. I'm wearing the Georgia Bulldogs hat. This is mine, by the way. I mean, some people, he probably just borrowed it. It's probably Billy's or somebody's. No, I bought this hat 5 years ago. I went to my first UGA football game, and it was pretty dang cool. I have to say. I mean, of course, I'm a huge Chicago sports fan. So, I mean, I don't really have a dog in this race. Oh, you see what I did there? So when I went there, though, it's such a cool just experience. Even if you're not rooting for the team, you look up in the stands and you look up forever and it's a big, huge sea of red. So it's really awesome. So, but the reason I'm wearing the Georgia hat today, well, first of all, Georgia Bulldogs, they're ranked number one. They've been ranked number one for a while. They are just rolling. but it's the big weekend. This weekend, it's the big Georgia-Florida game going on. They call it, what is it? The biggest cocktail party in the world or something like that. That's kind of the, Billy probably knows if he's still able to listen. I know that they call it something. I want to say it's the biggest cocktail party in the world or something to that effect. But it's a huge thing. So every year, Georgia and Florida, they meet up. They're huge rivals, and it's just like a big thing. Plus tailgating. There's people that go just to sit in the parking lot. Like they don't even have tickets to the game. They just go and they're just like, yeah, I'm just, hey, I'm just, partying in the parking lot. Oh, no, there he is. Okay. So Smith a little late on the draw there.
Why is it?
Why
is it cropped?
I don't know. I don't know why that's working, why that's not working right. But here, I'll just slide out of the way for a second. Georgia, Florida, and Jacksonville. So that's the big thing. So the big game going on. I know that Georgia is favored by a lot, I'm sure, but I don't know the exact point spread. So a lot of UGA fans, I know a ton of them, but I probably one of the biggest ones besides Billy and April, who are huge dog fans. I mean, they're huge Bulldog fans. But one of them that I know is a huge fan is Barrett. Barrett is a huge fan, and I've known Barrett for, I don't want to say I've known him well, but I've known him for probably 15 years, maybe something like that. And when I was working in radio, he worked at car lots. So I would go and do live remotes on location, stuff like that. So Barrett Tucker, huge UGA fan. So I know he's excited about this weekend. I mean, there's a whole bunch of friends. I mean, there's way too many of them for me to list. So all you Georgia Bulldog fans, again, congratulations being ranked number 1. It's going to be a big weekend down in Florida for the Georgia-Florida game. So I wish you all the best. Now, it's a lot of excitement. I could have wore a Braves hat, but I don't own one. So I didn't want to be that kind of guy. I said before, I'm a huge Chicago Cubs fan, but the Braves, see, I'm representing, I got it going on. My girlfriend, Brenda, she's a huge Braves fan. So I said, if my Cubs can't win, then I want the Braves to win. So the Braves in the World Series, they won the first game, exciting stuff. They were unable to pull off the second win, but that's okay. It's tied 1-1. So now they come back. Yesterday was a travel day. So now they come back. They're playing Houston, by the way, the Astros. In the World Series. And so they're coming back to Atlanta. They play tonight, tomorrow, and Sunday. And then if they don't clinch it, if they don't win 3 in a row to win 4 out of 7, then they'll have to go back to Houston. So we're hoping that they can wrap it up, win it, and clinch the whole thing, the whole enchilada, going back to Smith's, Mexican restaurant reference. But hopefully they can win it on Sunday. They can clinch it. So they'll have to win 3 in a row, which is not an easy task. I mean, it's hard enough just to win the series, best of 7, but to win 3 in a row, pretty tough. So they've got their work cut out for them. And the Astros, they are absolutely not an easy team to beat. So again, they're the best in their division. And they're in the American League. Braves are the best in the National League, so they match up. So a lot of excitement in Georgia sports going on right now. There's a lot of high school football stuff too. I don't really talk too much about high school football because again, I'm not from here, so I don't really, I don't dislike it. I just, I don't have a kid playing and stuff like that. So I don't really follow it too much. We used to air it when I worked at the radio stations. We would air it on Friday nights and things like that. So, I mean, I'm familiar at how big it is. Did you ever, like when you were actually in high school, Smith, did you go to the games?
I went to a couple. Yeah. Well, I say a couple. That's kind of silly. I mean, I was in band, so I was at a lot of them, but I was usually, playing trumpet for the band, marching band, that type of deal.
You had an easy instrument with the marching band.
I guess if you say so.
Well, I mean, think about it. I mean, like the tuba, you're like carrying this big
yeah.
or like
good point. Good
gigantic
point.
drum where you're like wham, 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 but you got to march in time and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my God, can you imagine like high school 5'2" me carrying around a tuba?
No, I can't imagine 5'2" you falling down with a tuba.
Yeah,
that I can imagine.
It probably offset my my balance completely.
But now, so like when you were, you just turned, what was it, 29?
29.
Right? Yeah, okay, so when you were in high school, so that was what, 12 to 15 years ago, somewhere in
like
there.
That.
What was all right, so a typical Friday. So it's a football Friday. They got a game going on. When you came to school, what was kind of a typical day with high school football? Like when you went to school, did they do anything different when it was football Friday?
I don't remember anything in particular.
He can't remember. He was I don't know. I didn't pay attention.
I know.
I was trying to carry the tuba.
I know that we would practice our set, but other than that, I don't remember anything very special. But I mean, I I was very, as I still am, antisocial.
He just has
So
he has Smith vision. That's all he does. He just like, I did my trumpet. That's what I did.
I went to
That's
school. I slept in math class. I had a ball in
he
band.
slept in math class. Well, there you go. That's one thing you can say for Smith. He is an honest young man. He
the
is an
one I could
honest
get away
man. That
with.
is for sure.
I was good at math, so I always got away with it.
Well, all of you high school football teams, again, it's a big thing. I mean, people go out and they support the teams, and I think it's awesome. You know, and a lot of the businesses around town, you know, they'll put up the signs supporting their teams. Here in Coffee County in Douglas, we have the Trojans, the Coffee Trojans. So you'll see a lot of Go Trojans and, you know, that kind of stuff. Even still, some people still call it the Trojan Train, even though they were supposed to change that a couple years ago or whatever it was. I don't know. I just say go team, go Trojans, go team, go Trojan Train, whatever. Just, you know, enjoy the games. And so again, a lot of fun and excitement in sports in the state of Georgia going on right now. So it's a big Friday. Again, with the Georgia Florida game right around the corner, Braves are playing tonight, high school football game. So a lot of excitement going on. Last week, I told you that I was going to North Carolina. And I will say I enjoyed myself, had a great time, visited with my grandkids. However, I was unable to go to some of the breweries. So I was a little disappointed because, you know, I had to play, you know, grandpa / babysitter thing. So they tell me that it's wrong to bring an 8-year-old to the brewer with you. So okay, I fine. So I didn't, I kept, you know, landing my 8-year-old grandson. Dane, who was 17, probably wanted me to take him to the brewery, but but I didn't. I was a good boy. But had some fun. And with Halloween, of course, you know, Halloween this weekend. So again, a lot of stuff going on right now. So with Halloween going on, we go, Brenda, my girlfriend, and I. So we go there. We go to visit the kids and the family and stuff. Laurel, Brenda's daughter, and her husband Shane, they actually won a trip to Gatlinburg. So that's why we were going. We were going to babysit. So we got to see them just for like the night. We went and spent Friday night with them, and then Laurel and Shane, they left on Saturday. So while she decided that she was going to, you know, enjoy this wonderful free trip that she won from church, she decided where she works, they have this awesome pumpkin decorating contest. I mean, it's fun. I mean, they do a really good job. It's really exciting. And for the past, I don't know how many years, I mean, for as long as she's worked there, you know, at the, I can't remember the name of it, so I apologize. But it's a doctor's office in North Carolina, in Fayetteville, I believe it is. But anyway, so they have this big pumpkin decorating contest, and you can't carve the pumpkin. Okay. So it's not a jack-o'-lantern. You can't make a jack-o'-lantern. You don't cut it and carve it and all that kind of stuff. You have to paint it or, you know, dress it up, blah, blah, blah. And the reason they do that is because they put them in the offices. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever smelled a rotting pumpkin, but it is not a glorious thing. So you're not allowed to cut them. So you have to come up with all these creative ways, you know, to do your pumpkins. So Brenda, she is so creative when it comes to, you know, building stuff, decorating stuff, things like that. She comes up with. So we're talking about some different ideas. So Smith, let me ask you. You have to come up with an idea where you have to decorate a pumpkin. So again, you can't carve it up. You got to paint it or, you know, dress it or, you know, do stuff with it, whatever. What would be something that would, you know, and I'm putting you on the spot. Of course I'm doing this. I didn't give him any lead time. So I'm putting him on the spot. What would be something that would be like, hey, that would be fun. That would be cool. What's an idea that just kind of pops into your head? How would you decorate a pumpkin?
I'm trying to think of something uncanny, to be honest. I'm thinking we throw like big anime eyes and elf ears, just total monstrosity, Frankenstein it up.
So Smith would have the first and probably only anime pumpkin.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what he would do. So, and in typical Smith fashion, you know, I know when I set up the questions, I know I'm going to get this oddball answer. But hey, you know what? You might have won. You might have won the contest because you're right. It would have been a unique and original kind of thing. Well, yeah. we talked about a lot of different things. Me, of course, I kept trying to choose the easiest stuff. Right. I don't want to spend all this time, you know, decorating the pumpkin and stuff. I want to play with the kids. So all of my ideas, you know, I was like, oh, wait, I know. You know, it's the headless horseman's head. You know, so I'm like, just get a Sharpie, paint a little face on him. Good to go. You know, I'm like, or, you know, put him on a counter and then like drape a cape across him. There you go. Headless horseman. You know, it's super easy. Things like that. So I was just kind of like, you know, trying to be as basically as lazy as possible. That's what I was trying to do.
course.
Trying to come up with these lazy ideas. But I did have one that I thought was pretty funny. Now it's kind of a pun, I mean, and some people they don't think it's very punny when you do that. But I had one that I thought was a good idea. All right. So I mean, the pumpkin that we had was about this big. Okay. But now you can choose, you can use a smaller pumpkin or a bigger pumpkin, whatever. And so we had some smaller pumpkins that were about this big around. Okay. So I wanted to take the small pumpkin, get some wood, just a couple of, 2x4s or whatever, build basically. I'm going to try and visualize this. So, all right. So here's the start of it. It goes up like this. Then you have a top. Okay. So just basically, like this. Okay. Got it. Build that out of wood. Just basic, simple. Okay. Or, take two, like, I'm going to try and use some carpenter and builder words here. Take two, like 2x6s, I think is what they're called. It's 2 inches thick and 6 inches wide. So I thought, okay, take two of those. All right. Nail them together, glue them together, whatever. So it'll be about this wide, and be about this tall. I want to take the pumpkin. Here's my idea. You still with me here? You follow me here? Okay.
So far, so
all right.
good.
So here's the pumpkin. So you turn the board, put it on edge like this, right? Take the pumpkin, put the pumpkin on top like that. You know what it is? It's Humpty Pumpty. Humpty Pumpty. See what I mean? So I thought it was a great idea. I'm like, no one will build Humpty Pumpty. So you make a Humpty Dumpty pumpkin, basically. It would be very simple. Put a little, put a couple legs on him, draw a face. I mean, I thought it was like super easy and quite creative as well, and a little bit punny as well. So, give me, give me your thoughts on my Humpty Dumpty, my Humpty Pumpty. What do you think?
I don't think anyone would know what it was supposed to
Thanks
be.
a lot, Smith. Yeah. Says the man who wants to create the anime pumpkin.
I thought, like, as soon as you mentioned stacking stuff, I was like, is this going to be like a pumpkin snowball man? Snowman?
Could have been. Well, that was one of my other ones. I was like, why don't we make a pumpkin snowman? We had a couple of pumpkins. We had a big one, we had a middle one, we had a small one. I'm like, that's simple and easy. Again, I was looking for easy, quick. But Brenda is not the easy, quick. She wants something creative. She wants to stand out. So I gave you the photo. So this is what we came up with. By the way, this was 97% Brenda, 2% Landon, 1% me. Now, I don't know if you can see this very well. I'm gonna get out of the way. Got a bit of a glare going on.
Yeah.
So can you slide the picture around a little bit? Can you make it bigger?
Sure. We can make it way bigger, actually.
All right, that's probably better. That's probably a better view. Now, can you tell what it is?
It's definitely a hamburger.
Yes. It's a cheeseburger. Okay. So I'm going to pull it out a little bit or shrink it back or whatever. And then over here, I do that all the time. I got to figure out the side. And then over here, French fries. All right. So it's pretty dang creative, I have to say. I mean, and we took the pumpkin. So what we did is, you can see this over here, the meat patty. Basically what that was, we went to, I think it was Hobby Lobby or one of those craft stores, and they have these rings of straw that are wrapped in plastic. So she got the plastic on it, spray painted it. That way you could just set it right over the pumpkin, like kind of set it down. So it stayed like that. Really creative. I mean, she spent a lot of time on this. By the way, the French fries, where am I at again? Okay. The French fries right here. Those were actually yellow pipe cleaners that she had tied, like kind of twisted together or whatever. And then you can see there's supposed to be ketchup on the top of those. But my 8-year-old grandson Landon, he said, why'd we make bloody fries?
It looks like blood.
Yeah. So we had a little bit of, so bloody fries or French fries, but I thought it was pretty smart. So, I thought it was a really cool idea. She even put where am I at again? She even put the sesame seeds. She cut those out and painted them and stuck them on there. And then on the top, if you can see on the top of the photo, if you can slide the picture down a little bit so they can see it. On top of the burger right there, there's pickles. Okay. And the reason that she did that was you were supposed to hide the stem. So that it looked like a burger, so it looked like a bun. All right. So she did that. And then she had the little, you call it the poker thing, that like the big toothpick or whatever, skewer thing, that she made it. And by the way, those pickles are made of styrofoam. And so then she took the skewer and kind of pressed into it. So it made the little ridges like a pickle. Pretty dang creative, I got to say. So as my mom just put in there, great job. So again, Brenda, 97% Brenda, 2% Landon This is as far as like who did everything. Okay. So, and I get probably not even 1%, but I mean, I get 1% because I carried it. That's all I did. I carried the pumpkin into the place where we had to take it. So we did all that without Laurel. So Brenda did all this on her own, where, her and Landon did all this. And then Laurel's going to get all this cool credit. Like, oh my God, your pumpkin turned out great. That's amazing. Blah, blah, blah. But Brenda's never been one to kind of, be in the spotlight, or that's my job. But a great job. She really did. She did a great job on the pumpkin. So we had some fun, very, very creative with the pumpkin. Now, when you did your pumpkins, when you were a kid, did you cut them up? Did you carve them up, or did you just paint them or spray paint them or whatever?
I'm pretty sure we done both. I think when we were in elementary school, I remember doing it, just painting them, but I definitely remember carving them later, even if that was like an extracurricular thing.
Yeah, I mean, we never did, back in the day when, 97 years ago when I was a child, we didn't have pumpkins, kid. No, we didn't really do the painting. That wasn't a thing yet. There wasn't paint, and there wasn't all the kits and stuff like that you can buy now. It was pretty generic. It was like, okay, cut out the triangle eyes and try to have a funky mouth, the best you can. And, take out the insides, cut the top, put it back on, put a candle in it. I mean, it was pretty basic. So we never really did a lot of that when I was a kid, but Brenda did a great job. And again, she's always done a really good job. So we had a lot of fun in North Carolina with the kids. We talked about Georgia. I did mention Chicago a little bit, about the failure of my Chicago Cubs and things like that. North Carolina had a great time there. So now we're going to bring up another state, the beer of the week, Kentucky. And by the way, when I sent this to Smith, he even said, he goes, boy, that sounds like a pretty tasty beer. I'm not even a beer guy. This is Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Strawberry Ale. It's quite a lengthy title, but I got to tell you, this stuff is pretty good. I mean, it's very unusual. When I first got it, I was like, man, I don't know, that could be just disgusting, because like sometimes the fruit beers, they're kind of sweet or whatever. But this came out back actually in 1999 from Lexington Brewing Company. You can go to lexingtonbrewingco.com to find out more about it. But the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Strawberry Ale, it's really good. It's by the way, it's strong. It's the bourbon barrel, so it has that those bourbon flavors in it, but it's like a blend of like fresh strawberries, fresh fruit with the bourbon flavoring in it. And there's even a little bit of vanilla and kind of almost, I don't know, kind of caramely or whatever, but it's really good. So, but they age it in bourbon barrels. That's why it has a higher alcohol content. So it's 8% by volume. So it's pretty hefty duty stuff. So don't think it's just, well, it's kind of fruity, but whatever. So, I mean, it really is a good beer. Oh yeah, that's pretty tasty. I mean, and since it's, before noon, I guess this could be a breakfast beer. I could call this a breakfast beer. By the way, Jonesy Jones, he just said, yeah, hey, it's Part-Time Paul. Very funny, Jonesy. Billy Merritt, I don't know when he created that, that dumb nickname, Part-Time Paul. Because I work like all the flipping time. No, he knows that. That's why he made it Part-Time Paul. I took a few days off here and there, and I wasn't here one day, and he was like, where's Paul at? And they're like, he's off again and all this kind of stuff. So I was like, all right. So I just roll with Part-Time Paul. I mean, I've been called way worse than that in my lifetime. Trust me. By way worse people. But Jonesy, I know. I miss Jonesy. He used to work with us. Really cool guy, a real positive dude. So Jonesy Jones, you can see him in the comments. Him and his wife, just great people. Got a great dog too. I mean, just some really good folks. So I miss seeing you, Jonesy. Hope you're doing well. Also, we got. Now wait a minute. How did
okay. This is what you get when you leave your Facebook logged in on this computer.
Okay, I'm like, okay, Martin Rodriguez just gave us a Lexington Brewing Company web address. I'm thinking, what, does he work there or what? I mean, how's that work?
I can't. This is a weird thing with StreamYard. Like I can post to the YouTube and I can post to the business pages from inside StreamYard. But if I'm going to post it to your live stream on Paul Sullivan, I have to open up Facebook and go do it manually. And Martine was logged in, so good job, Martine.
So there it is. Too funny.
I didn't even realize until I posted it.
That's the website, by the way, lexingtonbrewingco.com. And they really have some unusual beers. Their bourbon barrel. They have a vanilla that's really good. I've had that before. And it's a little more of the vanilla one is more for the colder weather. So this is definitely would be considered a summer beer, even though it's a stronger one, but it would definitely be considered a summer beer. But it's kind of warm here still, like in the afternoon. It gets warm here in the afternoon still. So, but really good beer. So check it out. Again, kind of hints of vanilla in there and almost caramely. And those bourbon barrels, I know it sounds funny because some people be like, it tastes like wood. What? That sounds disgusting. But there's like an oaky kind of flavoring to it. So you can kind of taste it. But I think it's pretty good. So check out the Lexington, the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Strawberry. Man, that's a mouthful. From a Lexington Brewing Company, but it really is good stuff. So okay, so there's your beer of the week. So now we move on to we talk about Thanksgiving. I mean, we talked about Halloween being this weekend. So here's my question, Smith. I think we may have brought this up, but it was a long time ago, like a year ago. But I want to know, what is the age limit? Do I need to move over? I moved the wrong way. I did it. There it is. Trick or treat. Trick or treat. Look at Smith right there getting things set up. Here's a different view. How about this?
Yeah, that's true.
It's a different angle.
Kind of relaxed.
I kind of got, now I feel like I'm a little guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I'm over here. But my question is there an age limit? Like how old, or how young, whatever you want to call it, like what's the limit? Like, so if you're a trick or treater, how old, what do you think the cutoff should be for people to trick or treat? And, if you've got a suggestion, if you're watching the show, you got a suggestion, what age do you think it is? What's the cutoff? What's the oldest that you can be to be a trick or treater? Like is it teenage? Like as soon as you hit teenage, it's like, nope, you're out. So if as soon as you become a teenager, you can't trick or treat. Is it, well, you're officially not an adult at 17. So is it okay to trick or treat when you're 17 years old? Can you trick or treat if you're in college, and you're poor and you want some free candy, so what do you think, Smith? What's your age? What's the cutoff for trick or treating?
I mean, I'd probably, maybe this has changed over time. I'd probably go around 17, like you said. I think we
17, really?
Maybe this is just me being the big inner kid type, but I don't know. It feels wrong to cut them off earlier than you have to, I guess.
Okay, now, all right. Wait a minute. All right, so let me chime in here. All right, so you think 17? By the way, I am curious about what other people think. What's the age cutoff for trick or treaters? How old? Like what's the actual limit that you can? I mean, of course you can. I mean, you can be 30 years old, dress up and knock on somebody's door, especially if you got a mask or something on, they can't tell how old you are. So, I mean, you can do it, but I'm saying what would be the appropriate age, if you will? Because trust me, I know like parents that take their little kids trick-or-treating. Oh, parents do that crap. They're like, yeah, I'll take some candy. I mean, they're like, hey, I'm working hard too. So they'll do it. Hey, by the way, William Vincent, it says enjoying listening to the show. Thanks for listening to us and watching us, William. One of my old pals from up north. From Hinckley, Illinois, where I was from. But so you say 17. So, all right. So let me ask you this. I know your house is out in the country.
Right.
So, I mean, so obviously you guys aren't getting trick-or-treaters,
No.
And so, but if you lived in town or, even if you lived out there, all right. So a 17-year-old kid, and I said kid because he's not an adult. So a 17-year-old kid comes up to your door wanting candy and you think that's all right.
I kind of do. I mean, I know it sounds weird. Maybe it would be more reasonable to say like 14 or something like that. But I don't know. The older I get, the more I look at people who are like even up to 25 and younger and think back to me, 25 and younger. And I'm like, I was a child.
Wait a minute. You used the word was. You use the word was.
Yeah, I mean,
I
still am probably.
Smith, I was a child. Yeah, you are a child, and that's what he is. Smith, he's a kid. He's just a big old kid. That's what he is.
I just think back to those times, and I'm like, my brain was not complete, and I know these people's aren't either. They are still children.
He used the word was again. My brain was not complete, like it is now. You see what I'm saying? No, Smith. So, all right. So you quickly backtracked. Once I pointed out if a 17-year-old came to your door to trick or treat, you quickly backtracked and you said 14.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the visceral feeling I get when I think about the 17-year-old coming up. I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, if I think about it, I'm trying to be logical.
Well, plus, I guess I look at it now at like, have you seen the size of some of these 17-year-olds?
Yeah, have you seen the size of some of these 14-year-olds?
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So if you're talking about a 17-year-old, this guy could be 6'5", walking up, trick or treat.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on.
I guess it's also kind of hard for me to visualize it because we've always basically lived in the middle of nowhere. Like if anyone showed up at my house.
So yeah, so you were scared if anybody came.
Well, I mean, funny enough, we've had like the Mormon types show up, not frequently.
Oh no, that's not fun at all.
I mean, how did you even find my house?
Oh, they'll find you.
We live in the woods.
They will find you.
Yeah,
they will find. They recruit everywhere. They will find you. They will find you. Well, so going back to the age thing of like what the cutoff should be, if you will, for trick or treating. I would say once you reach high school, I think you're too old.
I think so.
I just do. I'm like, so 8th grade, you better enjoy it. I mean, that should be your last real year. Not, and I don't mean like if you live if you like on your street, if you live in town, all right, on your street, and your neighbors. So you wander over there like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Hey, can I have some candy? Trick or treat. That's okay. I mean, if you're 15 and Mr. Johnson who lives next door, or whatever. I mean, all right, I'm okay with that. But I mean, going out with the big pumpkin, the plastic pumpkin thing or the bag or whatever, trying to just get free candy when you're 17. Right. That's a bit much to me. But again, that's just my opinion. So one other thing about Halloween, what was the best costume that you ever had? What was the best Halloween costume? Do you remember what was your most favorite Halloween costume when you were a kid? He's gonna say anime.
Honestly, I would say it wasn't when I was a kid. Funny enough,
of course.
Well,
no, that's okay. You can use that as an adult. Okay. So, what was your favorite Halloween costume ever?
I mean, we didn't go out and trick or treat at this point, but my friend Michaela, German girl that I met at Walmart a couple of years ago, I think when we were about 25, she was really into the face painting and everything. Mm-hmm. So she done the real deal for me. She painted my face, created the makeshift costume and everything, turned me into a zombie for a day, and it was freaking awesome. So yeah, that was way cooler than buying a Spider-Man costume.
Yeah. I mean,
Walmart or whatever.
For whatever reason, I mean, I know we weren't exactly rich when I was a kid. So we didn't get the fancy, store-bought costumes a lot. Most of ours were kind of the made up, homemade, slap something together, whatever, that kind of thing. And I'll be honest, I mean, it didn't really matter to me. I mean, it really didn't. I mean, the costume part of it really didn't matter. I mean, when you're a kid, all you really care about is the candy. I mean, that's really all it is. I mean, that's really all you care about. You're like, I don't care if I have a good costume or not. So, I remember kids, you literally take the white, bed sheet and cut holes in, as eyes and stuff like that. I mean, that was just pretty, basic stuff. Or, the white makeup, white face makeup. And that would be they wear regular clothes and they just put white makeup. I'm a ghost. It's so pretty basic or generic, if you will, or perhaps lazy. Those were some of those. William Vincent, by the way, I called him Bill when we were kids. So he said the best was dressing up as a scarecrow, sitting on the front steps and scaring the kids when they came up. Now that's pretty good. I like that. Now, are you big haunted house guy, Smith?
I enjoy them. I've only been to a couple. Been to a couple of haunted houses. I've been to this haunted train. Oh God, it was near Dollyville, I believe. That was cool.
Dollyville?
Yeah, I feel like
Dollyville?
I feel like I'm getting this wrong.
I believe that's Dollywood you're trying to talk about.
Dollywood, yeah.
Over there in Dollyville.
I don't know things. What was I about to say? We were watching last night. I think it was on Inside Edition. They were looking at some of the decorated houses for Halloween around the country. Mm-hmm. And there was this one that was themed after that Netflix series, Squid Games.
Yes.
Have you seen this?
I have not seen. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Well, they had creatures and stuff outside, but up on the front middle of the house was the screen of the doll girl who looks around, red light, green light in the first episode, and like they had gunshots and everything. Like she would do the green light, red light, pow, pow, and it would be different like every time. Like the next time, pow, 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 like it would be a rat-a-tat, and then a ta-ta. It was the craziest thing. They had neon lights, big screens. They had like imagery from the game and everything. It was
So
pretty
since you guys live in the country, did you guys actually decorate your house for Halloween?
I don't think we've ever really done more than like a scarecrow and a pumpkin. Yeah, just sort of. It's festive times. Let's put out some.
Well, I mean, because like now, I mean, they have the party stores and all that kind of stuff now. I mean, you can go way overboard. I mean, there's a house near where I live. They had it out. I mean, it was like the middle of September. It was like September 13th or whatever it was. I think I mentioned it on a podcast. That they had all the spider webs and the hanging spiders and the ghosts blowing, the ones that blow in the wind and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's all kinds of things that you can dress up for Halloween, stuff like that now. So all right, so you've done the best costume. What was the worst costume? What was one you were just like embarrassed you just did not want to wear?
The worst costume.
Or if you're watching, what was your worst Halloween costume that you had to wear when you were a kid?
I think I done the clown thing one year.
The clown. Are you one of those guys? Are you scared of clowns?
I am. I had weird experiences.
So were you scared of yourself then?
Okay. Hopefully I'm remembering this correctly, but apparently, I don't know if this was around the time that what was that movie with the clown, the original Stephen King adaptation? It came out. I think it was somewhere around that time. I don't think this had anything to do with it, but I believe it was around the same time.
My nephew, who is now in his 40s, but he was scared of clowns. I mean, I was a clown in one of our homecoming parades when I was in high school, and even though he knew it was me, he knew. I mean, like my older sister told him, that's your Uncle Paul. He's coming. He's dressed like a clown. He's coming toward you. I mean, he's like, I don't know. I think he was like 6 or 7, something like that. I mean, so he knew my voice. He recognized my voice, and it was the most bizarre thing because he had this completely puzzled look. He knew it was me, but I had on, clown makeup with the funny, the big clown hair, the wig, all that kind of stuff. And I will have to admit, I mean, I did kind of because it wasn't Halloween. I mean, it was for homecoming, and but I was kind of like the scary clown. Because, like I had the makeup where it was like one side was this color and, one side was this color. And, typically you think of a clown, you think, all right, you're going to have like white, red and yellow and, stuff like that. Not me. Yeah. I went dark. I mean, I went dark. I had a dark purple clown wig. Then I had dark purple on one side of my face, right down the middle. And I had one dark purple on this side of my face. And then I had black on the other. And so it was pretty creepy. So I may have scarred him for life. He's never really been, and even in his 40s, now he's not going to say I'm scared of clowns, but trust me, he is not fond of them either. So I think he does kind of hesitate to, when there's a clown coming, he's not going to run, but he's definitely not going toward him either. Matthew, by the way, Matt is my nephew. I'm going to call him out, Matt Strasburger. He's probably still afraid of clowns. Probably still is. But no, so the clown costume would be the worst one for you.
Yeah, but the whole story was actually around that time. I think it was around that time. I was a wee lad, anyways. I mean,
a wee lad,
young enough. I don't really remember it, but my mom went like full on decorating my room with like clowns and balloons and crazy colors and the what are those poppers and stuff like that. And apparently I had a lot of trouble sleeping and was freaked out by it. And ever since then, I've kind of been really freaked out by clowns. The thing that freaks me out the worst, though, has always been like the Japanese style horror thing, like The Grudge, like the freaky little girls. That is what scares me more.
I got to admit, I thought The Grudge was pretty good. I mean, I'm not a huge, I can't say I love horror movies. I mean, I've watched some of them, obviously, but I thought The Grudge, that was pretty creepy with the little girl crawling in.
I think there's something I think about like offsetting the horror element with like the most innocent thing you can think of. I think that's what makes it like the scariest thing to me, to be honest. So that's
Well, my mom just chimed in and said, "Remember Barb, who's my older sister? Remember Barb used to make costumes for Matt and Amy. Those. That's Matt is the nephew I was just referring to, and Amy, my niece, where Matt was Robin Hood. I do remember the Robin Hood, the Robin Hood costume. She did a good job. I mean, she did some good ones. I mean, I know that they're like some kids just are appalled with what their parents, would make them wear and all that kind of stuff. And like I said, whatever. As long as I got candy, I was pretty good.
Would you say Barb made you a bard?
Smith trying to be punny over there.
I had to say it.
Trying to be punny over there. Hey, that's my job. All right, let's move on off of trick or treating. So we didn't really come to any conclusions. We just gave our opinions. Smith thinks that you can be 17 and and trick or treat, and then I think it's as soon as you reach high school, you're out. You're out of it. So you can't do you can't do it anymore unless you're a parent and you have a small child with you. Then that's fine. Oh, and then real quick before we move off of Halloween though, now so you lived out in the country, but did you go trick or treating?
I don't think I ever really did. I think
that's so sad.
Not big time anyways. I think my mom was usually too scared to let me wander around town. I think we went chaperoned like one time and it was just it was just so embarrassing. I never wanted to do it again.
I mean, we're not saying like take your 6-year-old, drop them off in the middle of town and go get some candy.
Yeah.
So you didn't really trick or treat much. Well, I did. Of course, I trick or treated all the way up until high school. I mean, I didn't in high school. So I mean, 8th grade was like the cutoff for me. So maybe that's why I think that it is. And then the other thing is with trick or treating, when you trick or treat. Now again, even though you didn't do it very much. So if you had kids that came to your house, what would you give out as the candy? So it's up to you, not your mom. So like if you have to go and get something that you're going to give out to trick-or-treaters, what are you giving out?
It's probably just going to be mixed Hershey's chocolates and the like, maybe some Reese's peanut butter. Probably go Reese's peanut butter.
All right. So Smith,
gotta give him some protein.
Yeah, I was going to say, so Smith, he's going to go name brand. He's going to go hot. He's like, yeah, I got the good stuff, kids. So you'd be a popular house. Cause I remember there were some houses where I lived where you're like, nah, don't go to Mrs. Johnson's house.
Yeah.
She gives out that crap, it'd be like, oh, here's an apple, and it would be all smushy and soft. And you're like, ugh, gross. How long you had these? Stuff like that. I mean, there were a few
peppermints.
and there were a few. I mean, like now you can't do it now. I mean, again, I mean, now it's like everybody's so, like you said, freaked out about, where you're getting candy and stuff like that. Because I know, I cannot remember that lady's name. I remember going to the house and she actually made popcorn balls, like homemade popcorn balls, and they were wrapped in cellophane, and they were really good too. I mean, like we would always eat those while we were trick or treating. We'd eat on that popcorn ball. I remember those. That was always a big thing. I mean, so there were a lot of different homemade, if you will, like home. I remember pieces of cake being wrapped up. So again, it was a completely different time. I mean, I remember, I'm 54. So we're talking about, my last year of trick-or-treating was at 13. So that was 41 years ago. So times have definitely changed. Smith's jaw just dropped and hit the desk when I said that. He's like, oh my gosh, he is so old. But anyway, so let's move on to the Classic Rock Revisit, sticking with the theme, if you will. This week's Classic Rock Revisit, Alice Cooper. Welcome to My Nightmare. And man, this is such a great album. It's early stuff. I mean, it really is. It's early stuff from Alice. Welcome to My Nightmare was in 1974. And of course, the title track, Welcome to My Nightmare, really, kind of an eerie kind of a thing. A lot of stations, rock stations play it on Halloween and around Halloween, things like that. Oh, Bill Vincent, there you go. Rosemary Alderman. She's the one who gave the popcorn balls. See, so thank you, Mrs. Alderman. We always got those popcorn balls and they were always delicious. And she had homemade chocolate items too. See what I mean? All these homemade things that were wrapped up then. So that, but how the times have changed. Now it's like, don't eat anything. Yeah, we got to take it to the hospital and get it, x-rayed and yada, yada, yada.
Eat drugs in the candy.
Exactly. I mean, and I get it. I mean, if I was a parent and I had small children, of course, I'd be, I'd be very cautious about all that kind of stuff too, but it just takes away from the fun. I mean, it just really does. So so big ups, big props to Mrs. Alderman back in the day with those homemade popcorn balls. Really, really good stuff. So, all right. So the Classic Rock Revisit, Alice Cooper, 1974, before probably, Smith's parents were born probably. It was a long time ago. But Welcome to My Nightmare had a couple of great songs on there. The Black Widow was part of the kind of the scary theme. But then at the same time, even though Alice Cooper, now, first of all, let me just ask, Smith, who's 29 years old, do you know who Alice Cooper is?
I've heard the name. I don't think I've ever actually went out of the way to listen to Alice
Okay.
Cooper, though. No.
All right. Well, Alice Cooper, he absolutely has an image. I mean, like, he puts the weird makeup on and all this kind of stuff. So, he's a character. I mean, that's what he does. He puts makeup on, plays a character, if you will, on stage. I mean, he can sing. And I mean, I've seen him twice in concert. Puts on a great show. I mean, it's kind of campy, if you kind of know that going in, if you're like, oh, those effects were really lame. Well, duh, it's a rock concert.
Right.
It's not a horror movie or something like that. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of campy, but it's fun. There's a little bit of horror involved in it. There's a little bit of fake blood here and there. Not a lot, but a little bit here and there. But his live show really is good. But earlier stuff though, a lot of people thought that Alice Cooper was, kind of the twisted mind and dark and, yada, 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 all this kind of stuff. But so he was much more well known for kind of the creepy, like the creepiness and the dark side. But one of the songs that's on this album is Only Women Bleed. And don't let that title fool you. Only Women Bleed. You might think, oh, it's like a guy, a thrasher movie or slasher movie or whatever, something like that. But it's actually it's a slower tempo. I mean, it's really a ballad, and it's a really, really good song. So check that one out. Smith, I know you're not a big, like you said, you never went out of your way. So go out of your way and listen to Welcome to My Nightmare. It's under 3 minutes, if I remember right. It's a short song. But it's kind of that kind of creepiness or whatever. So it's a lot of fun for the holidays, for a Halloween holiday, I should say. And William Vincent saying, yeah, don't forget his snakes. Yeah, he always had snakes around him, all kind of stuff. So he just kind of had this whole persona thing going on. But again, check it out. Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare, 1974. Check out the album. There's some deep cuts on there that are pretty unusual. I'm being kind when I say unusual because they're pretty hard to understand. They're a little out there. Actually, you might like that. Smith, he likes a lot of that out there stuff. So he may be like, yeah, that's like the best ever.
Yeah, I'm looking at the artwork and I'm like, looks drippy. I might enjoy this.
I mean, he is. I mean, like I said, but what's so funny though is that he had kind of this dark persona, whatever. But like, he's such a nice guy. I mean, married with kids, he golfs. I mean, he's in his 70s now. I mean, he's been around a long time. But again, he still puts on a great show. So check out the earlier work. Welcome to My Nightmare, perfect for the holidays. And I was going to use this one, and I was kind of torn between which one do I go with. I went with the classic, even though this is an older album. Because just a couple weeks ago I did what was it? I did Seether. I'm sorry, I did 3 Doors Down.
Oh, right.
So that's not old. It's 20 years. I mean, it's old enough, but it wasn't like really, really old. But the other one I almost used it, especially because it was Halloween. But the Rob Zombie, Hillbilly Deluxe, that is a pretty good album too. So I'll use that as an honorable mention for today. So I don't have the album cover and anything like that, but check that out. There's some pretty dark stuff on the Rob Zombie album. Hey, Robert Brooker finally joining us. He said Alice Cooper is a wise man. He really is. I tell you what, he made a lot of money. He made a lot of money with his persona, and really, if he pulled his, like when he golfs, he's still got the longer hair, but when he golfs, he'll put it up in his hat, so you can't really see the long hair. You wouldn't recognize him. Because he wears that dark eye makeup all the time when you see him on stage. So you probably wouldn't recognize the guy if he was just like walking through, a store or something like that and had his hair pulled up in a hat. You probably wouldn't know. You probably wouldn't even recognize him to see who he was. So, but check it out, Alice Cooper. Got to wrap the show up. I got to go back to work. And because, you know what that means. Time to go. But check out the Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Strawberry Ale. Really good beer. The kind of fruity with a little bit of vanilla mixed in it, but it's a stronger beer, 8% alcohol. So be careful with it. If you're going to be drinking, remember, make sure that you use a designated driver always, not just this weekend. Be careful if you're out there trick-or-treating with the kids. Make sure they look both ways for crossing the street, all that kind of good stuff. We try to do that stuff. So, thanks for watching the show. Everybody have a great weekend. Go Braves. Like I said, you're not going to hear me say that very much, but go Braves in the World Series. And then, UGA, the Georgia-Florida game, Bulldogs playing tomorrow, the biggest cocktail party in the world or whatever they call it. So go UGA, go Dogs. and have a great weekend. We will see you next time, and have a good one.